The sky over New York City turned an unnatural shade of green as the shadows of colossal ships blotted out the morning sun. Panic spread like wildfire through the streets. Humanity had long speculated about extraterrestrial life, but no one was prepared for the Varkarians' arrival. Captain Elena Martinez stood on the rooftop of the UN building, her binoculars fixed on the alien vessels. The air was thick with tension, the usual cacophony of the city replaced by a haunting silence, broken only by the occasional scream or crash. She had been summoned here for what was supposed to be a historic diplomatic meeting, but as the ships descended, the true nature of this encounter became clear. The Varkarians, a species known across the cosmos for their expansive empire and stringent cultural superiority, had come not in peace, but with conquest in mind. Their ships, sleek and menacing, were unlike anything human technology could fathom. They hovered ominously, casting a dark reflection of what was to come. The Varkarian ambassador, Krelth, was a tall, imposing figure with skin like polished obsidian and eyes that seemed to pierce through one's very soul. He descended from his ship with an air of entitlement, flanked by guards whose armor shimmered with unknown technology. The meeting was brief, a farce masked as diplomacy. "We come to enlighten your primitive race," Krelth declared, his voice resonating with a chilling calm. "You will surrender your sovereignty to the Varkarian Empire for your own good." There was no room for negotiation, only submission. The ultimatum was clear: assimilation or annihilation. Dr. Samuel Chen, the human diplomat, tried to argue for peace, his voice steady despite the palpable fear. "We can learn from each other, grow together," he proposed, but his words fell on deaf ears. Krelth's response was a disdainful sneer, his gaze sweeping over the gathered humans as if they were mere insects. As the meeting concluded with promises of compliance, a sudden explosion rocked the city. The Varkarians had struck first, targeting a military base, signaling the commencement of their domination. Martinez watched in horror as the skyline erupted in flames. Her heart raced, not with fear, but with the fierce determination of a soldier. She had seen enough. The Varkarians underestimated humanity, mistaking their peacefulness for weakness. She issued commands through her comms device, her voice cutting through the chaos. "All units, this is not a drill. Engage defensive protocols. We do not yield." The city was in chaos, but beneath the panic was a burgeoning resistance. Hidden beneath New York, in bunkers and secret facilities, lay the fruits of human ingenuity and paranoia. A military force and technology kept secret for such an apocalyptic moment. As Martinez coordinated the response, her mind raced with strategies. The Varkarians believed they had encountered savages, but they were about to face a civilization that had mastered the art of war out of necessity, driven by a primal will to survive and remain free. The intrigue of what humanity had kept hidden was about to unfold. The Varkarians would soon learn that their so-called savages were about to give them hell. The green sky would bear witness to a battle for humanity's very soul, where the true meaning of savagery would be redefined. The aftermath of the first Varkarian strike left New York in ruins, its skyline a jagged testament to the new age of war. Smoke rose like dark omens, and the cries of the wounded and the lost filled the air. But beneath this chaos, in the shadows of the city, humanity's spirit was far from broken. Captain Elena Martinez, now a figurehead of resistance, moved through the underground command center beneath Central Park. The walls were lined with screens showing live feeds of the city and space above. Here, the real face of human defiance was being forged. "We've lost a lot today," Martinez said, her voice steady, but her eyes reflecting the weight of command. "But we're not out of this fight. Far from it." Beside her stood Dr. Samuel Chen, his suit now smeared with ash and blood, not his own. "We need to show them, Elena. Show them what we're made of." The room was a buzz of activity. Engineers, soldiers, and scientists worked in unison, their faces set with grim determination. Among them was Dr. Ava Lee, a brilliant physicist who had been part of the covert team developing human space technology. "Captain, we've got something you need to see," Ava called out, leading Martinez and Chen to a secure chamber. Inside, a large device was covered with a tarp, its outline suggesting something monumental. "This," Ava said, pulling off the tarp to reveal a sleek metallic structure, "is Project Prometheus. It's our ace in the hole."
"A quantum energy weapon, theoretically capable of disrupting their shields." Martinez's eyes widened. "Theoretical?" Ava nodded, her expression one of cautious optimism. "We've only tested it in simulations, but with the Varkarians here, we're about to find out if our theory holds in reality." The discussion was cut short by an alert. A Varkarian patrol was moving through the city, their alien technology scanning for human resistance. "Let's give them a proper welcome then," Martinez said, her voice hardening. She turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant, prepare a surprise for our guests."
As the Varkarian squad advanced, they were met not by cowering humans, but by a series of explosions that seemed to erupt from nowhere. Old subway tunnels, now rigged with explosives, became deadly traps. The aliens' advanced armor couldn't protect against the raw, human-engineered destruction. From a vantage point, Martinez watched through her binoculars, her heart pounding with both vengeance and sorrow. "They thought we were just savages," she murmured to Chen. "They'll learn we're warriors." Chen, his gaze fixed on the unfolding battle, responded, "But at what cost, Elena? How much of humanity do we lose to prove our point?" The counterattack was successful, but it wasn't just brute force. It was the cunning use of the city's own destruction against the invaders. This skirmish was a message, a beacon to the world that humanity was still fighting back. Elsewhere, in a more secluded part of the command center, a young technician named Jake was decrypting intercepted Varkarian communications. His screen suddenly flickered with symbols unlike any human language. "Captain, you need to see this!" Jake called out, his voice tinged with excitement and fear.
"I think I've found something about their command structure, weaknesses in their fleet deployment patterns." Martinez and Chen hurried over, peering at the complex data. "If this is true," Martinez said, her mind already racing through tactical implications, "we might just have what we need to hit them where it hurts." The chapter closed with humanity not just defending, but beginning to understand their enemy. The Varkarians had awakened something fierce and unyielding in humans, who now saw a glimmer of hope in their darkest hour. The story of resistance was only beginning, its pages filled with intrigue, sacrifice, and the unyielding human spirit. The dawn cast a pale light over the ruins of New York, revealing the scars of the recent battle. Captain Elena Martinez surveyed the landscape from atop a partially destroyed skyscraper, her gaze hard and unyielding. They had won a skirmish, but the war was far from over. "We need to move," she said to her assembled team, her voice carrying the fatigue of leadership. "They'll be back, and next time, they'll come with more force." Dr. Samuel Chen checked his tablet, the screen glowing with incoming data. Our scouts report Varkarian forces are regrouping near the Hudson River. We have a window. Lieutenant Ava Lee, who had joined them, was adjusting the settings on Project Prometheus. "If we can get this beast operational, we might just turn the tide," she said, her tone a mix of hope and caution. The group descended into the city's underbelly, moving through a maze of tunnels that had become their clandestine highways. They headed towards an old power station, now repurposed as their makeshift tech lab. As they walked, Jake, the young technician, whispered to Martinez, "I've got more from the Varkarian signals. It seems they have a central command ship, a flagship. If we can take it out." Martinez nodded, her mind already strategizing. "That's our target then, but we need to ensure Prometheus works first." Arriving at the lab, the atmosphere was tense. The hum of machinery filled the air, a stark contrast to the silence of the ruined city above. Ava and her team worked feverishly on the quantum weapon, the device's core glowing ominously. "Powering up in 3, 2, 1, Ava announced. The machine hummed to life, the air around it shimmering with energy. But then, an unexpected twist. The power station groaned, its old infrastructure unable to handle the energy surge. Sparks flew, and alarms blared. "Shut it down! Shut it down!" Ava shouted, but it was too late. The overload caused a chain reaction, leading to an explosion that shook the tunnels. As dust settled, Martinez coughed, checking her team. "Everyone okay?" "We're alive," Chen replied, helping Ava up. "But Prometheus?" "It's damaged," Ava said, her voice laced with frustration. "We need time to fix it." Time was a luxury they didn't have, as alarms signaled incoming Varkarian scouts. "Looks like they've found us," Martinez said, her expression one of grim resolve. She turned to her squad. "We hold them off here. Jake, get those schematics ready. We'll need them if we're going after that flagship." The fight was fierce. Human soldiers, using guerrilla tactics, ambushed the Varkarians in the dark, narrow corridors. The sound of alien technology clashing with human ingenuity echoed through the tunnels. During the skirmish, Jake managed to slip away, diving deeper into the lab to secure the data. He encountered a lone Varkarian, not a soldier, but a scientist, unarmed and curious. This alien, named Zeth, held up his hands in a universal gesture of peace. "Why do you fight us?" Zeth asked in broken earth languages. Jake, weapon trained on Zeth, hesitated. "You came to conquer us." Zeth shook his head. "To save you from yourselves. But I see now. We've only awakened something primal." The moment was cut short by more Varkarians rushing in. Jake had to make a split-second decision, choosing to spare Zeth, hoping for future leverage or alliance. Back at the main fight, Martinez led a tactical retreat, knowing they couldn't hold forever. They left behind traps and diversions, their footsteps echoing the resolve of a species unwilling to be subjugated. As they regrouped in a safer location, Martinez looked at her gathered team. "We've lost ground today, but we've gained something invaluable. Knowledge. That flagship, we're going for it. And when we do, we'll show them what savages really are." The chapter ended with the team nursing their wounds, sharpening their resolve, and plotting their next move, all while Jake harbored the secret of Zeth, a potential key in understanding their enemy. The intrigue of an alien ally, the twist of technology gone awry, and the relentless action painted a picture of humanity not just fighting for survival, but for a chance to redefine their place in the cosmos. The night was oppressive, the sky devoid of stars due to the smoke and debris from continued skirmishes.
In a makeshift resistance camp outside what used to be Philadelphia, humanity's spirit flickered like the dim campfires around which survivors gathered. Captain Elena Martinez sat with her core team, the map spread before them, illuminated by a flickering lantern. The faces around her were grim, the weight of their losses evident in their eyes. "We've got to hit them where it hurts," Martinez said, her voice a low rumble. "Their flagship. If we can take it down, we might just buy ourselves some breathing room." Dr. Samuel Chen, his face lined with exhaustion, nodded. "But we can't do that without Prometheus operational. And after yesterday, we're back to square one." Ava Lee, her hands stained with the oil and grease of machines, spoke up. "I've got an idea. There's an old research facility near here, hidden. It might have what we need to repair and enhance Prometheus." The plan was set. The team would move at dawn, but the night was not without its own intrigue. Jake, still processing his encounter with Zeth, had been piecing together more of the Varkarians' tech. He approached Martinez, his voice hushed. "Captain, I didn't tell you everything before. I met one of them, a scientist named Zeth. He seemed different, not like the rest. He said they came to save us." Martinez's eyes narrowed. "Save us? From what? Themselves?" Jake shrugged. "I think there's more at play. Maybe not all Varkarians are on board with this invasion." The idea of an alien ally was a risky thought, but in their current situation, it was a thread worth pulling. At dawn, the team moved out, heading to the research facility. On the way, they encountered a Varkarian patrol, but instead of engaging, they watched as the patrol seemed to be in disarray, arguing among themselves. It was a brief, chaotic scene before they moved on, leaving Martinez and her team with more questions than answers. The facility was indeed a treasure trove, untouched by the ravages of war. Inside, Ava found the components she needed, but also stumbled upon something unexpected, a project called Elysium, a supposed human colony in space, abandoned long ago. "This could change everything," Ava whispered, showing Martinez a blueprint of an advanced human colony ship. "It's not just about surviving here. We could have a chance to leave, start anew." The revelation was both a beacon of hope and a heavy burden. If humanity could reach Elysium, they might escape the Varkarians' grip, but at what cost? Abandoning Earth? Their musings were cut short by an alarm. Varkarians had found them. The battle was swift, with humans using the facility's layout to their advantage. In the chaos, Martinez noticed one Varkarian not fighting, but observing. Zeth. After the skirmish, Zeth approached, his hands up. "I came to warn you. There are those among us who question this war. Not all wish to see your planet fall." "Why should we trust you?" Martinez asked, her hand resting on her weapon. "Because I can help you reach your ship," Zeth offered, pointing at the blueprint of Elysium. "And perhaps find peace with those in my ranks who do not wish for war." The offer was tempting, yet fraught with danger. Martinez, Chen, Ava, and Jake exchanged looks, wrestling with the implications. "We'll hear you out," Martinez decided. "But at the first sign of betrayal, we end this." The chapter closed with this uneasy alliance forming, the team repairing Prometheus with newfound urgency, their plan now expanding from mere survival to potentially escaping Earth. Yet, the cost of freedom loomed large, with every step forward shadowed by the weight of what they might have to leave behind. The intrigue of Zeth's intentions and the mystery of Elysium added layers to their struggle, hooking into the narrative of humanity's fierce resilience and the complex tapestry of interstellar politics. The sun was beginning to set behind a sky marred by the smoke of recent battles, casting long shadows over what was left of the human resistance's makeshift command center. Project Prometheus was now operational, its core glowing with a new intensity thanks to the scavenged parts from the old research facility. "We've got one shot at this," Captain Elena Martinez said, looking at the assembled team. The air was thick with tension, the gravity of their next move palpable. Dr. Samuel Chen was studying the Varkarian fleet's movements on a tablet. "Their flagship, the Harbinger, is scheduled for a low orbit pass in 3 hours. If we strike then, we might just catch them off guard." Ava Lee, her fingers dancing over the controls of Prometheus, nodded. "It's ready. But remember, this is experimental. There's no telling exactly what will happen when we fire it." Jake, who had been quiet, spoke up. "And what about Zeth? Do we trust him with this?" Martinez glanced at Zeth, who stood apart, his alien features unreadable. "We don't have a choice. He's our only link to the dissidents within the Varkarian ranks. If he's playing us, we'll know soon enough." Zeth stepped forward, his voice calm. "I assure you, I seek peace, not your destruction. There is a faction within my people who believe this war is wrong. If you succeed, it will strengthen our position." The plan was set. The team would use the cover of night to position Prometheus near the old Statue of Liberty, now a symbol of human defiance rather than welcome. From there, they would launch their attack. As night fell, they moved stealthily through the ruins, the silence broken only by the distant sounds of conflict. Zeth provided critical intel, guiding them past Varkarian patrols. At their vantage point, the Harbinger loomed above, a leviathan in the sky. The moment was tense, filled with the weight of what was at stake. "Ready when you are," Ava said, her hand hovering over the activation switch. Martinez took a deep breath. Fire. The beam from Prometheus shot into the night, a blinding light that seemed to rend the fabric of reality itself. It struck the Harbinger, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then, the flagship's shields flickered, and parts of it began to disintegrate, chunks of metal raining down, each explosion a testament to human defiance. But the victory was Pyrrhic. The Harbinger, though damaged, was far from destroyed. Varkarian ships swarmed, their response immediate and fierce. "We need to move!" Martinez shouted over the chaos, pulling her team back into the shadows. As they retreated, Zeth grabbed Martinez's arm. "This isn't over. My people will retaliate, but this act has shown us you are not to be underestimated." Back at their hideout, the mood was somber. They had struck a blow, but at what cost? The Harbinger, though wounded, still commanded the sky. Chen looked at the data streaming in. "We've bought time, but we've also escalated this conflict." Ava, checking over Prometheus, added, "And this weapon, it's too powerful. We've opened a Pandora's box." Jake, however, was focused on the broader implications. Zeth's faction, if they're real, we might have allies, but we need to get to Elysium. It's our only real chance for a future. The chapter ended with the team pondering their next steps. The successful attack on the Harbinger, both a beacon of hope and a harbinger of greater conflict. The intrigue of Zeth's true intentions, the mystery of Elysium, and the power of Prometheus all wove into the narrative, setting the stage for humanity's next move in a universe that was proving far more complex than they had ever imagined. Chapter 6: Alliance or Annihilation. The aftermath of the Harbinger strike left the Resistance in both a state of cautious triumph and urgent preparation. The air was electric with the possibility of change, but also thick with the scent of impending danger. Captain Elena Martinez, standing amidst the ruins of their temporary base, was in deep discussion with Zeth.
Your people will come for us now, won't they?
Zeth's expression was grave.
The attack has stirred the hornet's nest, but it has also shown my dissident comrades that resistance is possible. We must act quickly.
Dr. Samuel Chen interjected.
We need to get to Elysium, if there's even a chance it's operational.
Ava Lee, poring over the blueprints, added, We can use Prometheus to open a window for escape, but we'll need a diversion, something big. The plan was risky. Use Prometheus to create a massive EMP burst to disable nearby Varkarian tech, giving them just enough time to reach the Elysium launch site. Meanwhile, Jake was tasked with establishing contact with other resistance cells, hoping to coordinate a larger distraction. As night fell, the team moved out, the city around them a silent witness to their desperation. They reached the outskirts of what used to be JFK Airport, now the makeshift space for the Elysium project. But their plans were nearly derailed when a Varkarian squad, alerted by the Harbinger's damage, descended upon them. The fight was fierce, gunfire and alien energy weapons lighting up the night. "Keep them off us!" Martinez shouted, her rifle blazing. She led the charge, creating a human shield around Ava, who was setting up Prometheus. Zeth, proving his loyalty, fought alongside the humans, his alien strength and knowledge of Varkarian tactics turning the tide momentarily.
"We must hurry,"
he urged, helping to fend off attackers. Jake, amidst the chaos, managed to send out the distress signal to other cells. "This is it! All units, converge on JFK! Make it rain hell!" The response was immediate. Explosions from different parts of the city signaled the beginning of a coordinated human counterattack. The Varkarians, caught between defending their positions and confronting the resistance at the airport, were momentarily stretched thin. With the EMP device ready, Ava gave the signal. 3, 2, 1, now! The EMP burst from Prometheus was blinding, a shockwave of energy that knocked out the Varkarian tech around them, including their immediate pursuers. The sudden silence was eerie, punctuated only by the hum of Prometheus cooling down. "Now go!" Martinez commanded, ushering her team towards the Elysium ship, now visible in the clearing smoke. As they ran, a new wave of Varkarians, unaffected by the EMP due to their distance, appeared on the horizon. The race was on, the sound of their approach like the drumbeat of doom. Martinez glanced back, the sight of her team boarding the ship, Zeth among them, a mix of hope and fear. She was the last to board, the ramp closing just as the first alien shots struck the ground where she had stood seconds before. The ship's engines roared to life, a sound of defiance and escape. But as they lifted off, the Varkarian forces rallied, their ships ascending in pursuit. The chapter closed with the Elysium ship breaking through the atmosphere, the battle for survival now extending into the stars, the intrigue of Zeth's position within his own people, and the desperate hope that the human spirit could endure beyond Earth's scorched skies. Chapter 7. The Battle of Sol. The Elysium ship pierced through Earth's atmosphere, leaving behind a planet in turmoil. The stars above were no longer just celestial bodies. They were the battleground where humanity's fate would be decided. The Varkarian pursuit was relentless, their ships like dark comets, trailing destruction. Inside Elysium, the atmosphere was tense, filled with the hum of machinery and the silent prayers of those aboard. Captain Elena Martinez stared out at the void, her mind racing with tactics. The Varkarians were closing in, their ships a swarm of lethal intent. The battle was joined in the shadow of Mars, where human ingenuity would be tested against Varkarian might. Elysium's defenses, hastily activated, unleashed a barrage of countermeasures. Missiles streaked towards the enemy, while energy shields flickered under the assault. Amidst the chaos, a betrayal unfolded. Szeth, who had been pivotal in their strategy, suddenly accessed the ship's control panel, his movements swift and precise. He didn't speak. His actions screamed of deceit. With a few commands, he altered the ship's course, aiming to lead them into a trap. Dr. Samuel Chen, who had been monitoring the systems, was the first to notice the anomaly. His eyes met Martinez's, conveying silent alarm. Without words, they knew the plan: isolate and confront Szeth. As the ship maneuvered, narrowly avoiding a deadly cluster of Varkarian ships, Martinez and Chen cornered Szeth in the command center. The betrayal was clear in his eyes, but so was conflict. Before words could be exchanged, an explosion rocked the ship, throwing everyone to the floor. The Varkarians had breached their defenses, their soldiers boarding Elysium. The sound of combat filled the corridors, human and alien in a deadly dance. Martinez, leaving Szeth momentarily, rallied her forces. The fight was brutal, close quarters where every shot, every blow, could mean the end. Ava Lee and Jake, armed with makeshift weapons, fought alongside the soldiers, their unity the only hope against the invaders. In the chaos, Szeth escaped his captors, only to be confronted by a Varkarian commander. Their conversation was inaudible over the din of battle, but their body language spoke of tension, of a plan gone awry. With the ship heavily damaged, Martinez made a desperate call. They would use Elysium's remaining power to create one massive, final EMP burst from Prometheus, hoping it would disable the Varkarian fleet long enough for escape or rescue. The team fought back to the control room, where Szeth, now conflicted, hesitated before the controls. His actions had been to save his dissident faction, believing the humans would be better off surrendering. But now, seeing the human spirit, he couldn't go through with it. As Varkarian forces closed in, Szeth made his choice, joining Martinez to initiate the EMP. The burst was cataclysmic, a silent explosion of energy that swept through space, disabling nearly all technology in its path. Elysium, now drifting but free from immediate pursuit, was a testament to human resilience and the unexpected alliances forged in desperation. The chapter ended with Martinez looking at the stars, knowing the battle for Sol was not over, but a new chapter in humanity's saga was about to begin. The intrigue of Szeth's betrayal turning into redemption, the action of space combat, and the silent agreement between former enemies, now bound by a common cause, all set the stage for the story's conclusion. The aftermath of the EMP blast left Elysium and the surrounding space in a state of eerie silence, the void punctuated only by the occasional spark from damaged ships. The Varkarian fleet, once a formidable force, was now adrift, their technology rendered useless by the burst from Prometheus. Captain Elena Martinez stood in the command center of Elysium, watching as the lights of the ship flickered back to life. Beside her, Dr. Samuel Chen was rerouting power and assessing the damage. "We've got maybe an hour before they can get anything back online," he said, his voice a mix of exhaustion and determination. Ava Lee, who had been frantically repairing systems, looked up. "We need to make that count. We should broadcast our victory, rally any remaining forces." Jake, working on communications, nodded. "I've got signals from Earth. The Resistance has been waiting for our signal.
they're ready to push back.
Martinez turned to Zeth, who had played a pivotal role in their survival. Why the change of heart? Zeth's eyes were haunted. I saw what my people could become, not just conquerors, but perhaps allies. There are those among us who believe in a different path. The plan was set. They would use this moment of Varkarian vulnerability to coordinate a final push back on Earth, aiming to retake key positions and send a message across the galaxy. Humanity was not to be trifled with. As the broadcast went out, detailing the strategy and the success of their EMP attack, human forces on Earth mobilized. Cities, once under siege, erupted in coordinated attacks, the Varkarians caught off guard by the sudden resurgence. Back in space, the Elysium crew prepared for one last stand. They would hit the Varkarian command ship, now a sitting duck, to ensure no counterattack could be mounted. We go in, we take out their leadership, and we end this, Martinez declared, her voice echoing through the ship. The space battle that followed was a dance of desperation and skill. Elysium, though damaged, moved with a grace born of necessity, dodging and weaving through the now defunct Varkarian fleet. They targeted the command ship, using what remained of their weapon systems. On the surface of Earth, the tide was turning. Resistance fighters, inspired by the news from space, fought with renewed vigor. The Varkarians, without their ship support, were at a significant disadvantage. Ava, monitoring the battle from Elysium, shouted, "Their command ship's shields are down! Now, Elena!" Martinez, at the helm, maneuvered Elysium into position. "Fire everything we have!" The barrage from Elysium was devastating, penetrating the heart of the Varkarian command ship. Explosions lit up the void, a brilliant testament to human resolve. As the command ship disintegrated, a message from Earth came through.
We've retaken New York. The Varkarians are surrendering en masse. Zeth, watching the destruction, spoke solemnly. This was not the end we imagined, but perhaps it's the beginning we needed. With the Varkarian leadership destroyed and their forces on Earth overwhelmed, the war was effectively over. The remaining Varkarian ships, now without command, began to retreat or surrender. Martinez looked at her team, a mixture of relief and sorrow on her face. We've won, but at what cost? Chen put a hand on her shoulder. A cost we'll remember, but one that was necessary. We've ensured our freedom, and perhaps opened a door to peace. The final scenes showed Earth beginning to heal, with humans and a few Varkarians, including Zeth, working together to rebuild. The narrative closed with a gathering at the newly rebuilt United Nations, where representatives from both races discussed not just peace, but the future of coexistence. Martinez, addressing the assembly, concluded, "They called us savages, but we showed them the true meaning of resilience and compassion. We gave them hell, but now, let's give them hope." The story ended not just with the victory of war, but with the promise of a new era, where humanity's place among the stars was secured through both force and diplomacy, the echoes of war now paving the way for a symphony of peace.